Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe, and I'm a sales and marketing coach and LinkedIn lead generation service provider. I work with health, life, and mindset coaches and online service-based business owners to help them get more sales, shift their time to the client-generating activities instead of just the busy work, and overcome that social media overwhelm. Let's get into the show. If you're ready to take on your next paying clients, I have good news. My free 4 Basics of Client Attraction and How to Stand Out class is live at haileyrowe.com/client-attraction. In the class, you're going to learn the top 2 traits I recommend for most coaches and entrepreneurs if they really want to turn this into a career. You're going to learn how you can build demand for your services and stop getting crickets on your posts. You're going to learn the sales roadmap I used to improve my sales conversion rate and help my clients do the same. And you're going to learn so much more. So go to haileyrowe.com/client-attraction and get your copy of the class today. Author, keynote speaker, and entrepreneur. And she has a passion for helping you with transformation, overcoming self-sabotage, embracing your inner strength, and building powerful habits that lead to lasting success. And she is the founder of TO Fitness. Tiffany has guided over 3,000 women towards radical change. And she's the author of Wounded to Warrior, which is a sought-after book about personal growth, mindset, and fitness. And her mission is simple. She wants to help women become the dominant force in their lives. So this is the perfect episode for you if you are a woman business owner and you want to overcome self-sabotage and, limiting beliefs and things like that. So Tiffany, thank you for being here. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how did you get into this whole mindset world?
Yeah. So as you were speaking, I was like, wow, that I love what you're doing because this platform that you've created and you're helping these coaches is so needed. And when I get into my story a little bit, I'll share my experience. So I just want to say thank you for doing this. And I want to remind your audience to please, give a 5-star review, share this episode. What we do is a mission. Hailey, I don't know if you would agree, but it's our mission to help people. And the more you share and review, the more we can get our message out. So I just want to put that out there. It's very important. Yeah, thank you for having me. I have actually, I'm all the things you said, but I'm also a mother of 4. I am a new grandmother. My daughter had a baby last month.
Congrats.
Yeah. It feels weird. I don't feel like a grandma, but
you look way too young to be a grandma.
So I'm 44, so I'll put that out there too. I'm 44. I started in the fitness industry over 20 years ago. And I started building my business as far as the fitness and mindset coaching probably about 6 years ago. And today I help other coaches and entrepreneurs who, are trying to balance growing their business and paying attention to their family, and then also being congruent in their own lives. Because a lot of times we serve and give, and we let our own personal journey go. And it just happens because we want to grow our business and we want to help people. And then all of a sudden we haven't taken care of ourselves. So that's my true mission. And I love what Ed Milet says. He says, you're most qualified to help the person that you used to be. And so I have a feeling your listeners will be able to relate to me, and I can relate to them if they're just starting out.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So tell me a little bit about, how do you define self-sabotage?
I think for me personally, I want to give a little backstory because the woman that you're looking at today is not the same woman I was 3 years ago. I'm going to get a little personal and vulnerable. 3 years ago, I tried to commit suicide for the 4th time. I have it was amazing, necessary bottom for me to hit because I was doing all the things that I was just talking about that coaches do when they pour into others. I had ran myself down. I've overcome addiction and PTSD, mental health issues, all kinds of stuff. And all of that is in my book. But I think I think we self-sabotage without realizing it sometimes, especially when we are serving others, because that can make us feel like we are doing some amazing things. And for me, if I'm helping someone else, then I don't have to look at myself. And it wasn't intentional at all. So that could be drinking too much at night. It could be neglecting self-care. It could be all kinds of eating too much, right? We have good intentions and we're telling our clients to be healthy, but then we're so run down that by the end of the day, we do all the things that we didn't intend to do. I think that's what self-sabotage is to me.
Yeah. Okay. And so if someone's feeling kind of stuck in that, like, oh, I always end up doing this, or I'm just the kind of person who blah, 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 what is the first step to get out of that?
Gosh. So first, you cannot change or heal what you don't acknowledge. And it's very important to take personal responsibility. When we take personal responsibility for our actions, and I love Wayne Dyer, if you're familiar with him. He's older, but great mindset person. He says responsibility means to respond with ability. And we can't change the things that we're doing until we own them and take responsibility for them. And I was a victim. And for me, I lived in a victim mindset. And I truly believed, all the bad things happened to me. This is just my life, right? We put ourselves in a box and we just think because it happened once, it's going to continue to happen. And we find what we're looking for, right? What we focus on grows. So I had to change the way I was looking at things. And then the things I looked at changed.
Yeah. So having that awareness and change the way you're seeing it and telling the story and not being in that victim mindset, which sounds great, but a lot of people will say, well, how do I do that in the moment? How do I make that a habit? So any suggestions for that?
Yeah. Yes. So that is actually what I help coaches do, is to create a new narrative. So I'll give an example of one of my clients. She came to me and she didn't even realize the negative things that she was saying to in her head, these self-defeating, limiting beliefs that she was saying. So when she came to me, she thought she was signing up for a workout, which I've been creating workouts for over 20 years. But I told her, I said, we're not going to just work out. You have to transform your mind and then your body will follow. And then you will show up better in every area of your life. So I have a holistic model that includes a workout that you can do anywhere that's efficient and effective, because we're busy and most people say they don't have time. So she was able to work out from home, and she was very intentional about what she was listening to. What are we putting into our minds? So what are you listening to? Does your environment support your goals? We also, I had her share her wins with me. As high performers and coaches, we have a hard time celebrating the small wins. So if you can celebrate the small things, you start looking at everything as a win. And that dramatically changes your mindset. And then I also do a declaration and an affirmation paragraph where I help them rewrite the narrative, and it's a part of their morning routine, and they write it every single morning. And actually, it's changed my life. The instructions for that are in my book.
Amazing. Okay. So what about when it comes to growing to our full potential in our coaching business? I mean, I think a lot of our limiting beliefs hold us back from that, but what are some ways that we can raise our potential, and what does that mean to you?
I think first, if you're listening and you're finding your self-worth in your client's success, or whether a client stays with you or they quit, like it's an emotional roller coaster. 1 minute you'll have a client text you that they are having this amazing success, and then the next minute you get a text or an email saying that someone's quitting. right? And a lot of times for me, I would base my self-worth on how good they were doing and how many clients I kept, which is a very dangerous place to be. And I wanted to love myself, but the furthest distance you'll travel is between your head and your heart. And I didn't know how to do that. But I was leading people, but I didn't know how to love myself without attaching my worth to my success. So figuring out, which I have tools for that, you look at when a client quits, or like my husband says, Tiffany, they're just moving on. Stop saying they're quitting, because it's not about you. It's not about you, because that's an ego thing. Their success and their failure is not ours, right? We're there to support them. But if we could look at it as rejection is God's protection, that's one of my favorite quotes. So now if I have someone that is ready to move on, I say that to myself, and it helps me know that, you know what, they just weren't meant to be with me right now. And them staying or going has nothing to do with my worth and my value.
That's such a good point, because I think in a business we can tie a lot of things to our self-worth. You know, it's our passion and we love it. And it's kind of like, too, if you are a music artist, you might take it personally if somebody doesn't like your song. It's kind of like in our business when we're the owners and we make everything. If you don't like our program or our art, we take it very personally. But I think you bring up a great point that someone else is, their results, their life is theirs. And it doesn't mean that you did something wrong necessarily if they want to quit or move on. I love the way that your husband puts it. So I think that's a really good point. And one of the things that I talk about a lot with clients is sometimes they have fear of, like, what if I do get a ton of clients and I'm not ready for it? Or almost like this fear of success. When really, I'm like, get there and then we know how to deal with it, because there's ways to deal with it. But like, to me, I'm like, just go do it. Don't be afraid.
Right.
But what do you say to that when women have?
I love that you're bringing that up, because and do you find too that they'll self-sabotage because they're so
they'll procrastinate or they'll hide their visibility, because I'm like, oh, well, what if too many people see this,
Getting ready to get ready, right? So connection in this business is so important. So I'm gonna speak on what we're talking about, but connection is so important. So first, looking at who can I help today, instead of getting overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, what happens if I just blow up? You know what? Like Hailey said, we'll figure that out when we get there, right? Vulnerability and just being your authentic self and showing up as your ideal client, right? So you want to share your story vulnerably, like you are your ideal client, so they can get to know you and you build a relationship with them, and then they will come to you and reach out for help. And I've been in this business a long time, and it takes years of people watching me sometimes before they say, hey, I want to sign up with you. Getting past that is so important in this business, because it can literally paralyze you.
Totally. Yeah. And what are some like maybe common mistakes that you see women coaches making when it comes to sabotaging their full potential, or, certain mindset blocks they got to remove, or things like that?
Yeah. Shame is one. When you're not living a congruent life, when you're living in shame because you're telling potential clients to eat this or do this, and you're not doing it, they will pull back. And maybe some of your listeners have experienced this. They will get so down on themselves, they'll pull back, and their momentum slows way down. When, here's what I would suggest you do: share. When you mess up, share it, because clients want to hear that you're not perfect. And I'll share my breakdown. This is my example. I had already built a 6-figure business. I had helped thousands of people, and I ran myself into the ground. And when I hit my bottom and I attempted suicide for the 4th time, I went into treatment. And so I'm fully present on social media every single day. Huge platform, right? And all of a sudden I'm gone for a month because I went to treatment. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I've been sober for 3 years. And when I got back, instead of shaming myself, I wanted to put my story out there and to tell people that I tried to kill myself and I was drinking too much. And I'll tell you, and if you're listening, I want you to lean in. If you have something you feel shame about or you've messed up, share it. My business blew up. I had so many people messaging me and saying, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being vulnerable. And I have chills as I'm saying this. That was the best thing that I could have ever done for my business, was to share my darkest secrets. And if you're worried about what people think, don't, because they are not your people if they judge you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's so easy to think, no, I'm a special unicorn. No one will relate to this, or I'm the only one. And I think I heard a quote somewhere that's like, shame can't live on in the light. Like when you share it, it becomes less heavy and less shameful because it's not like you're hiding it. You are really owning what you've done in the past. And I'm like, I think some people feel like, well, that would be bad for business because then I'm showing I make big mistakes and things like that. But you're saying it actually helped your business and helps people connect to you and relate to you.
So they got to see me, but here's where we go back to being congruent. Okay, once you admitted your fault, what you've messed up with, maybe whatever you're ashamed of, you have to live your journey out loud of course correction. They get to see you live overcome, and you're getting to be an example of what you're coaching. So people saw my mind and my body transform. And I mean, they just kept coming and coming because they wanted what I had. And I was proof that my model worked. It's amazing how it works. So you have to live a congruent life. Does that mean you're never going to mess up? Absolutely not. But anytime I have a setback or I have a moment that I feel like someone could be inspired that is struggling in silence, I share it. And I've never regretted it, ever. And if someone comments ugly, you block them and you delete them. They are not your people.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you deal with that, with that rejection or fear that not everybody's my people, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So because I have turned this into my mission and my pain is my purpose, the more vulnerably I have posted, I don't have that fear anymore. 6 years ago, I probably did, because I'd been through a lot then, and it's again all in my book. But the more I shared and the more I had people reach out that said, because you shared, I don't feel alone anymore. I don't worry about that. So your confidence will be built in doing the action over and over. You just have to rip the Band-Aid off and do it scared. And every time you do the scared thing, your confidence will grow and it won't matter. Now, do I get my feelings hurt sometimes because I'm very muscular and I work out a lot? People say I look like a man. There's ugly people that are like, you look like a man, you do steroids. I get those comments and it stings because I have feelings and it hurts. And sometimes then I'll share about that. That's a good opportunity for me to share vulnerably that I got my feelings hurt. And I block and delete them.
Yeah. Okay. So block and delete. Process your feelings. Yes. And I'm curious too, you said you have 4 kids and you have a business. So what are some tips for other moms out there juggling time management and trying to figure out all of this? And I think a constant frustration I hear from moms is like, I just wish I could spend more time on my business. But then there's this equal thing of when I'm working on my business, I should be with my kids. And when I'm with my kids, I should be working on my business. So what are your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, I love that you asked me that, because that is what my coaching model does, is it helps women like that put systems in place where they don't have that guilt. I want to say you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot give away what you don't have. So as health coaches, we need to look at the self-care as a part of us working our business. My workouts are very, very long, but I've been training over 20 years. I like that. That is a part of my self-care. I have 3 hours blocked off in my day. Okay. So here's my example of why self-care is so important. And you are modeling behavior not only for your children, but for your clients. And it's caught, not taught. My older two, they're 23 and 18, are completely different children than my twins that are 13. What's the difference? My twins have grown up with me being an entrepreneur for 6 years and doing all of these self-care things that I'm telling you about. They have been able to watch me help and serve people. And I do work a lot, and they just know that is what I do. But they are picking up things that I'm doing in service, and they are learning things like boundaries and working out, eating healthy. So I don't have as much guilt, because my younger two, who have witnessed me pouring into myself and my business, are self-motivated, driven, respectful. They are the most amazing kids. My older two they're amazing, but they don't have the same mindset. My children are fearless because they've watched what I do. And I do believe this, like, a form of child abuse is not going after your dreams.
Wow.
Dream, but if you can put it that way, you don't have as much guilt. So I hope these mothers learn that it doesn't have to be like a regular mom goes to the school parties and all the things. You don't have to do that to be an amazing mom. You can show your children love in other ways and still work on yourself and build your business.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I grew up with a mom who worked full time and we had a social life and takes care of herself. And it showed me like, wow, you can do it all. You are capable and you can make the time for what's important to you. And so I agree that it really sets a good example, because never in my mind was I thinking, well, I can't have both things, or I can't, that kind of thing. So what is, with the book that you have, I would love to hear, maybe what's your top thing you want to share from the book that you want people from the podcast to know or take action on today?
Yeah. Okay. I want to comment first on what you just said. Your mom modeled that for you. I think that's important. I don't want to skip over that. So you never looked at it as doing what you're doing as not normal, right? Because it was modeled. And so that's so important. I love that you are who you are because of what you witnessed. So this is my book. It's called Wounded to Warrior. It is on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And the biggest part of this book, it's my story, which I've been through just about everything, but it's also the mindset tools that I used in overcoming a victim mindset to become the dominant force of my life. And there's so many different topics, but I want to go back to taking responsibility and owning my part in every situation, even where I was a victim, helped me get my power back. That was the biggest turning point, when I decided that even in situations where there was sexual abuse, I found what my part was. I owned it. I got my power back, and I learned how to look at people with compassion, because hurt people. But there's so much more in the book. But I think taking responsibility, owning your part in every situation, and changing the way you look at things, and then the things you look at will change, and you kind of will see that in my journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Tiffany, this has been super valuable. I would love to know how people can stay in touch with you and check you out.
Yeah, so you have inspired me, Hailey. So I want to actually give your audience a free gift that I have never given away before. I literally have notes up because I want to make sure I share it correctly. It's because I am so passionate in helping these coaches, because I know how hard it is to do this and pour into others. So I want to share my free gift, and then where you can find me. My gift is called the Energy and Mindset Reset for Coaches. So as a health coach and life coach or service-based entrepreneur, you pour your energy into helping others, but what about your own well-being? The Energy and Mindset Reset, this is my free gift, is designed to help you reclaim your vitality and sharpen your focus and operate at your highest level without burnout, because we can burn out really, really easy. So what you get, I'm giving you an efficient full body workout that you can do at home or the gym. My workouts work. I've been doing this over 23 years. A 7-day meal plan. I have a certified sports nutritionist on my team that writes the meal plans, and it's a whole foods meal plan that will enhance your energy and mental clarity and productivity, which is very important. And this is the big one, because I only do this for paying clients, a Thrive and Perform strategy call. So a one-on-one 30-minute call with me to help you kind of strategize to align your mindset and optimize your habits and create a strategy for sustainable success. So all you have to do to get that is message me on Facebook. That's where I'm pretty active. I'm Tiffany Owen on Facebook, and I have the little circle that I'm Meta verified. And I have a green shirt on, and my arms are very, very muscular, and I have short black hair. I also... my website is CoachTiffanyOwen.com. CoachTiffanyOwen, no S.com. And there's also a place on my website that you can message me there too.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being a guest, and I'll talk. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast, and if it's really helpful for you, I'd really appreciate if you share it and or leave a written podcast review. This tells the podcast sites that our show is useful, and it will be promoted to more people that way. Thanks again.